I'm going to show you the fastest ways to get Azoth in New World. There are a few different ways to get Azoth, and some are much faster than others, but you can do whichever one works the best for you. Before we start getting Azoth, though, there's something you may want to consider getting, and that is bags that have Azoth attuned. Satchels are the only thing that can have this perk, and it makes it so when you gain Azoth, you gain more. I think it goes up to 5% on the highest possible roll with like a 600 gear score bag. Maybe it goes to 6%. I actually don't remember, 5 or 6% on each one, which really adds up when you're doing things that give you like 10, 20, or 30, or 40 apiece. Now, before we go to farming Azoth, which is what you're probably really looking for, just do be aware that you can buy Azoth for a very high price, going to the market and going to vials of suspended Azoth. These will give you 50 Azoth apiece, and it's going to vary per server. Some servers these cost 50, some servers these cost 300 apiece. Vials of suspended Azoth are a somewhat rare drop off of pretty much every enemy in this game, and if you have money and you need Azoth now, you can always consider buying vials of suspended Azoth. The fastest way, hands down, is by closing corrupted monoliths. The lower level, the better, because it gives the same Azoth no matter what level it is. So if it's level 25, you get 20. If it's level 55, you can still get 20. The big ones give 40, the little ones give 20, and if you ever see a big cluster of them that haven't been closed in like Windsward or Monarch's Bluff or something that are like the level 25 ones, you can just go there if you're level 60 and close them really fast. The best case scenario is it's going to be the one that I'm running up towards right now, this type, or the tentacle. Those two are the fastest ones because you can just go up and just take the objective. So in this case, we blow this thing up, and then after we blow it up, we need to go over to it and press E, and we can just kind of kill a few enemies, and then once the enemies are low enough, we can just ignore them and press E on it and just keep on doing that because it keeps your progress, so you don't have to sit here and just fight everything constantly. And there you go. Once you close it, you'll see that you get 20 Azoth. So you can do those to build up some Azoth real fast if you happen to notice a bunch of portals that haven't been closed. It's easier to find portals that haven't been closed first thing in the morning, like 8 in the morning or something. And sometimes you might just go here in the afternoon, and there might just be a ton of portals to close. Right now, here's like, for example, right here. If you were in First Light, here's an entire cluster. You can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100 Azoth right there. So if you're already in First Light or nearby, you can run over here, close all these. If you close the big one too, then you'll get another bonus. Now, there is one that you're going to want to avoid. Now, these are the ones that you are going to want to avoid, especially if they're higher than level 25. If this is a level 45 or 55, and you are doing it solo, you're not going to want to do this one where there's just the ring. Because what this one is a wave spawn, and you'll have to sit here fighting them and waiting for them to respawn. It takes significantly longer to do these ones compared to the other ones. But this is not a problem if you're doing these in a group. One other option for doing these is sometimes people will say, Corruption Portal Train in Weaver's Fen or something. Or here's a good Restless Shore. Look at my open right now in Restless Shore. Some guy in Restless Shore will be like, we're getting a Corruption Portal group together for Restless Shore, and you want to join in on that. They'll try to get like 10 to 20 people, and then they'll run around. Even though they're level 45 portals, they'll be closing them almost instantly because there's so many people. And they'll just go from one to the other to the other. And doing that, not only is it good XP, but you can get like 500 Azoth in like less than an hour, probably like 30 minutes or something. Like, it's really fast. All right, and here's the boss for this one. And you see, this whole thing took about 3, 4, 5 minutes or something. It just was not worth the time at all. The next best way to get Azoth, and it's most consistent, you don't need to have portals open and any of that, is on your tools. There is a perk called Azoth Extraction, which gives you, at the highest level, basically a 50% chance of getting 1 Azoth every time you finish gathering something. The best place to do this is with trees, probably, and stone. But really quick, down in here, you make these tools. The perk is from drop of Azoth oil, which I've never even seen for sale in the market on my server, honestly. Now, the best place, like I was saying, is trees in biomes like Everfall. There are certain trees that you can chop in 2 chops, starting with Star Metal tools, which is probably the fastest way. You can also, while going from place to place, if you know which trees get chopped down in 2 chops, you can run when you're running from one town to the other and run off the road and like run right beside the road and just chop down the 2 chopped trees while you're going to get Azoth while going from place to place. I'll show you how that works. All right, so this is how it's going to work. You can do this just farming, or you can do it while traveling from place to place. But in this type of biome, which is the Everfall biome, these little tiny trees go down in 2 chops, which is the fastest way you're going to be able to get Azoth. There's one other tree, though, that goes down 2 chops. It's not that one. That one looks like the next biggest, but it actually goes down to 4 chops. The other one is the 3rd one up. So we got the smallest that we just chopped. There's the next size one. And then there's this one. These ones also go down to 2 chops for whatever reason. So you'll get these ones, and you'll get the little ones. And like I said, if you're going to be traveling to Everfall or away from Everfall, just go along the road, but off the road, and then just run through chopping down trees, and you'll get, 50 to 100 Azoth every time you go from one place to another. So this is one way you can keep your Azoth up if you don't feel like doing corruption portals, or if there aren't really any good corruption portals to do, but you need Azoth right now, and you want to farm it instead of buying the vials of suspended Azoth. Then there's always the option of just murdering random enemies. There's a very small chance that you'll get Azoth whenever you find an enemy and kill it, but that amount does not add up to very much. And if you have a good farming spot, like you're farming an open world dungeon or something like that, then it's not the worst, but it's definitely the slowest of all the ways that I've mentioned up until now. But again, if you're already farming things, you will expect a baseline amount of Azoth per hour just from killing things. Last but not least is side stories. So doing side stories, which are given to you by innkeepers and random people in towns and things, these ones will give small bits of Azoth, 20, 10, 30, that type of thing, when you complete them. Now, they're not the fastest way to get Azoth, but you definitely want to grab those whenever you're in town just for other reasons, XP, the gold, the standing, whatever. I mean, you might as well grab them, and if you're nearby to doing one, you can do it. Or if you just feel like going out of your way and just doing side quests all day, if you think that sounds fun, you can do that, and you will get rewarded with some Azoth. That's another way that you can get it. And don't forget to keep your tools upgraded as high as possible for the gathering speed if you are going to go the route of using Azoth Extraction, because then you can just go out, and if you have any reason to go chop trees or mine stone, you can just go out with the best possible tool you can, the highest gathering speed, and just go as fast as possible collecting Azoth. Last but not least is the actual best way to get Azoth, but you're not actually going to get it very often, and that would be wars and invasions. Wars give, I think, 400 Azoth for participating, and invasions give, I think, 200 or 250. I don't know if it changes if you win or not. Nobody's won one yet on my server, but it gives at least 200 Azoth. The catch is you won't be able to get in very many of these. It won't be very often. So unless you're guaranteed to be in every war throughout the day, don't expect very much Azoth. Now, if you're going to be in every war and invasion in the day and you actually get put in, you can get over 1,000 Azoth a day just in a very small amount of time for participating. It's hands down the best Azoth per time spent outside of literally just throwing gold at the problem by buying suspended vials of suspended Azoth. The last thing I should mention is that if you are farming enemies fast enough, then it becomes one of the best ways, because you're just getting... That Azoth doesn't drop very often. The bottles of Azoth don't drop very often, but if you're killing enough enemies per time, then that average goes up. So if you find some spot where you're just killing like 30 enemies every, like 2 minutes or something, then it starts to be comparable with the other ones, if not even faster. Oh, and one more tip I should throw in here, by the way, if you don't know this, houses are overpowered. So if you have a house, you can recall the house, and then when it's on cooldown, you can pay Azoth to reset the cooldown, which is much cheaper than normal fast traveling. If I fast travel from here to Ebonscale Reach, it costs 160 Azoth with the amount of encumbrance I have on me. But if I recall to my house, I can pay 37 Azoth to reset the cooldown, and then I can just go there with as much encumbrance as I want. So make sure to have houses in multiple towns, like Windsward, Brightwood, and Morningdale, or something like that, so you can get around for cheap and save Azoth so you don't need to farm as much. And there you have it. There are all the fastest ways to get Azoth in New World. That is pretty much everything they have for us in order to get that currency, so to speak. Hopefully now you'll be able to keep up your Azoth as high as you want, be able to make everything you need with Azoth, and won't have any more problems farming it. But now you know the best ways to get Azoth in New World.